Ja, herzlich willkommen zu einer neuen Ausgabe SI Talk. Ich bin in Vancouver, Jänner 2019. Andrew Lee Smith, East Africa Metals bei mir. Und in den letzten Wochen war es ein wenig ruhig. Und das liegt nicht nur am Markt, sondern sie haben im Hintergrund sehr viel gearbeitet. Und was wird er uns jetzt erzählen? Andrew, thank you to your time. I said in my German introduction, in the last few weeks or months, it was really quiet from the company side. But I think you work a lot in behind the scene. So what's happened in the last 3 months?
Well, the last 3 months we've really been focused on the mining licenses and mining agreement that we need to enter into with the Ethiopian government to get the Matabula and Datambuk prospects licensed for mine development. They represent a significant asset to us in that the resource, nearly half of our 1.8 million ounce gold equivalent resource is in Matabula and Datambuk. So there's really a key to elevate the permitted value of the project by getting these 3 projects, which are very close together, all permitted so that they can be developed at the same time. Mm-hmm. So we've been quietly dealing with the ministry, filing a lot of reports, waiting anxiously for a decision, but one of the realities of working in Ethiopia is it's an emerging mining jurisdiction. Mm-hmm. There aren't a lot of precedents to deal with. Mm-hmm. There's not a depth of experience on the bureaucracy and the administration. So we do run into problems that have caused a delay. They're not problems. They're actually benefits in that the Ethiopian government realizes they have to do better. They're training their staff. They've changed over the new Minister of Mines and State Minister 8 months ago with the objective of that was reiterated by the incoming president 6 months ago of having the contribution from mining contribute 10% of the GDP by 2025. Okay. It's currently 1.5%. So that's the official position of the government, is that they intend to stimulate their resource sector. The World Bank has made the investment $75 billion in infrastructure that runs through our property, specifically under the instructions to the Ethiopian government that they have to get their resource sector going to grow their economy. So the developments have all been positive. The advance has been slower than we would like, but we're very comfortable with the way things are going, and we anticipate some resolution to the mining agreement here in the very near future.
Mm-hmm. Another big point beside the mining license is also the financing part. To finance after the
yes.
So how it looks like. For sure, it's tough to talk with guys who finance or yes. want to finance stuff when you not have the mining license in play. But it's always working together, one hand in the other.
Exactly, and so that's been there's been significant interest in the projects, and there has been advanced discussions with a number of groups on funding. But it has all been conditional on the licensing, because we currently have one license at Terrakomiti that's been ready for development. It's an oxide project. It's the first initial step, about 130,000 ounces. That's in that project. So the discussion on financing, is it just for that, or is it that and Matabula and Datambuk? So the objective has not been clear, and nobody's walked away, but everybody's waiting to see how these things develop in Ethiopia, and so once we're optimistic, once we receive the Matabula and Datambuk licenses, then we're talking about a bigger picture. We think that that's going to encourage more people to get involved on the financing run.
Up to September last year, the gold price was not really in favor of the market.
Correct.
Since September, we see it picked up. That is the positive thing, but on the other hand is that the overall stock market is going down.
Yes.
So it looks like when the stock market going down, gold going up. help this you more, or is it more the negative side from the negative stock market? What this?
Well, there's some critical choices that we have to make in terms of engaging the market, and one of the things that we're very encouraged about is the gold price. We think that we see the banks raising their long-term prices. We see indications. We see this transformation of the market based on the advance of the cannabis and Bitcoin deals, which were taking a lot of the venture capital, are now essentially resolved, and people are divesting themselves and diversifying themselves. We haven't seen the money coming back into the resource sector. As a matter of fact, the financings that completed on the TSX Venture Exchange last year was the lowest amount of money financed on the exchange in 13 years. So
worse than 2000.
It's worth it. The
15.
The TSX Venture Index is at an all-time low, 60 years, and is much lower than it was in 2008. So that is a dramatic setting for the venture capital markets, and we think that we see things coming back now more into the traditional investment sectors like mining, and obviously into the venture capital markets as well. We're an exploration company. We are in the venture exchange. We are driven by the winds that drive that exchange, and it has been a challenge over the last 2 or 3 years. Actually, a bit longer than that if you look at the venture index. But we see the sentiment changing. We're hearing it. I think the market needs a catalyst, and that should bring it back. And when the market does come back, we hope it'll be soon. And in that context, we'll be able to present a permitted asset in an emerging jurisdiction with infrastructure in place. And we think that that's going to create the value that will see us close the gap that we believe exists between our value of our assets and our market cap right now. So that's what we're focused on, is closing that gap, getting the company fully valued in the marketplace.
It was interesting. Yesterday the venture conference is starting from the Cambridge House, and there's so many companies there, but also so many people. So it looks really that also fresh blood is coming into the market.
So it's what we sense as well. The venture capital markets and mining are cyclical, and it has been flatlining for 3 years. It's the longest sustained period of no growth on the venture exchange on record. So it will come to an end. I've been in the business long enough to feel confident in that. We're starting to hear the rumblings now. As I said, what's missing at the moment is a catalyst. And if we can be that catalyst, it would be great. If somebody else can be that catalyst, we'll be just as happy. But something has to happen to trigger investor interest, to trigger risk tolerance, to get the capital moving in the venture space again. And we're confident that will come, and we're confident that we will be ready to be recognized for the assets that we have when it does.
One question to Tanzania.
Yes.
So
it's another situation where we're slightly tangled up with our development partner in legal issues. What we're hearing is that the next date for the hearing is February 11th. We're quite confident that we'll be on the right side of that decision, and that we'll either have those assets back or our developer will be compliant with our agreement at that point. So it's a resolution. It's there has been a legal case, but you're absolutely right. We haven't been focused on drilling and exploring and developing projects in probably 6 or 7 months, because we've been dealing with permitting issues and sorting out these legal differences that we have with our development partner in Tanzania. Not really the kind of news flow that would have an impact on a currently risk-adverse market.
So to summarize, means the next news we should get is about mining license in Ethiopia, and in February Tanzania, some news information, and And from them, we will see.
Yes, we think, again, one of the issues without legal tenure rights, which are being considered by the Ethiopian government right now, it's difficult for us to invest. So as these licenses get granted, and we expect that's going to be in the very near future, we will re-engage on the property and start drilling.
Okay, and then we have more news flows also from
the news flow will pick up. This is the mining licenses are the cork in the bottle right now, and we expect that cork will be removed very shortly.
Andrew, thank you for the update. Next time, I think I'm coming back in May, June also. Then we see hopefully much more information about all this stuff.
Yes, no, we've been advancing the project quietly. And we are encouraged that by the time to come back in May, we'll be advancing the project very loudly. Yeah.
Perfekt. Ja, also jetzt wissen wir auch, warum es so in den letzten Monaten ruhig war. Es geht um Minenlizenz. Mit dieser Minenlizenz, oder er hat das jetzt im letzten Punkt so schön erklärt, scheinbar besteht da 10 Jahre eine Explorationslizenz und nach 10 Jahren muss man seine Minenlizenz beantragen. Und wenn dazwischen ist man sozusagen in ein Loch, wo man nichts hat, weder die Explorationslizenz noch eine Minenlizenz, und dadurch macht es eigentlich keinen Sinn vom Unternehmen her, dass man Geld investiert, weil man eigentlich ja gar keinen rechtlichen Titel hat. Das heißt, das Bottleneck, wie es so schön heißt im Englischen, mir fällt gerade kein deutscher Begriff ein, ist momentan die Minenlizenz. Sobald Sie die Minenlizenz haben, werden Sie auch wieder mit der Entwicklung vom Projekt beginnen, also mit weiteren Bohrungen und so weiter. Und dann wird natürlich der Newsflow dementsprechend nach oben gehen. Finanzierung hängt natürlich auch mit dieser Minenlizenz zusammen, weil jeder, der Finanzier ist, wartet natürlich, dass die Minenlizenz in place ist, sonst wollen Sie das Geld nicht in die Hand nehmen. Also da beißt Sie sozusagen den Hund im eigenen Schwarf. Und Tansania ist so, da haben sie am 11. September das nächste Court-Meeting, wo sie davon ausgehen, dass das in ihre Richtung läuft, entweder, dass sie das Projekt zurückkriegen oder der Entwicklungspartner dementsprechend den Kompromiss zustimmt. Eins von den zwei sollte rauskommen. Das heißt, das wird der nächste Newsflow sein. 11. Februar ist relativ schnell. Also das heißt, da werden wir bald einen Newsflow haben. In den nächsten 3-4 Wochen wird sich hoffentlich viel bei dem Unternehmen tun. Und wir haben viel über den Markt geredet, dass der Markt wirklich jetzt in einem extrem niedrigen Bereich sind. Ich glaube, die Finanzierungen waren auf ein 13-Jahres-Tief. Der TSX Venture ist extrem niedrig, deutlich niedriger als 2008. Und das ist eigentlich auch ein bisschen überraschend. Und viel Geld hat er gemeint, dass er das Cannabis bzw. Bitcoin abgezogen hat. Und es braucht irgendeinen Katalysator, was den Markt nach oben treibt. Sehen Sie, der Katalysator ist natürlich glücklich, ist eine andere Firma, diese Katalysator haben sie auch kein Problem, weil sie dann dementsprechend nach oben schwimmen. Das war's von Andrew Lee Smith von East Africa Metals aus Jänner, also Vancouver, Jänner 2019. Tschüss und Baba. Thank you.
Thank you.